Thanks for joining me today. Kids, when I say the word sacrifice, what do you think of? Maybe giving something up? Maybe Jesus who sacrificed his life for us? What about when I say the word service? Service or serving is usually something we do for someone else. It's also something we do for God. We serve God. And we can serve God by serving others, right? I wonder if your service to God is ever a sacrifice. It's a lot to think about. So let's tell some stories and see if that helps us think through this some more. What about the story of the boy who gave up his lunch? He sacrificed his lunch without knowing what Jesus would do. Maybe he knew Jesus could make a miracle and feed 5,000 people with his lunch. Or maybe he just knew that sacrificing his lunch would serve God by serving a few people around him, at least. Of course, we know the story that Jesus made a miracle and everyone was fed. What about the story of the woman who gave her only 2 small coins to the offering boxes in the temple? She sacrificed everything as she served God that day. And we don't know what happened to her, except that Jesus used her example to teach his disciples that day, and his words in that story continue to teach us today. So our story today comes from the book of Daniel, chapter 3. Daniel had 3 friends named Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They worshiped God, and they were slaves of the king Nebuchadnezzar. King Nebuchadnezzar built a giant statue, and it was probably of himself. And he ordered everyone in his kingdom to bow down and worship the statue. Well, do you remember the 10 best ways to live that God gave Moses on the mountain? Yep. One of those said, no idols. And one said, worship only the Lord your God. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, no, thank you. And the king said, well, if you don't, then I'll throw you in the fiery furnace. You get another chance. Well, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, the one true God is able to save us, even from the fiery furnace. But even if God doesn't save us, we will still not worship you or your statue. So the king thought, okay, y'all have a nice day. No, the king was furious. I don't think kings like to be told no. He had the 3 friends thrown in the furnace, and then he watched. Well, I missed a detail. I think it turns out that the Bible seems to want to make a point here. You may be thinking, if they get out of this, it might be because it was a little fire. Nope. The king ordered that the fire be made 7 times hotter than normal. And it was so hot, the soldiers who threw them into the fire died from the heat just because they got close to the fire. So how is anyone supposed to survive the fire from the inside if people couldn't survive it from the outside? Good point, Bible. So the king looks in and says, hey, didn't we throw in 3 guys? I see a 4th, and they're walking around, and everyone is okay. He ordered Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to come out of the furnace. And since they weren't hurt and didn't even smell like smoke, he said that no one in his kingdom would ever speak badly about the one true God, because that God had obviously saved them. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were willing to remain faithful to God, to serve God by not disobeying God, even if it meant death in the furnace. They knew God could save them, but also committed to serving God even if he didn't save them. It's an example of service in sacrifice. I wonder what part of the story you like best. What part did you not like? I wonder how the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego would be different if they only pretended to worship the statue of the king. I wonder how the story would be different if God did not save them. Could we still say God was always with them if God did not save them? I wonder what it looks like for you to serve God today. Boys and girls, I love you. I look forward to the ways that you'll reflect on this story. I miss you and I can't wait to see you next time. You're amazing. Thank you for all the ways you serve God.